I have a few thank yous and a few acknowledgements. The first one is to my husband, Ned Martin. Can you put your hand up, Ned, darling? He has been very important to the installation as well as to just supporting me as we were going through the projects and the artwork and the marriage. Because we had to invent a way to install these pieces so that they floated, and upstairs as well. So I say to him, I want them to look like this, and he said, how about this? And he does it. So thank you very much, Ned. And thanks for coming out to the gallery to work with the staff and help to install the show. I also would like to thank the United Church in Little Current that hosted the Manitoulin Circle project, which is on the bottom of this main floor. The Reverend Faye Stevens was instrumental in inviting a residency into the church hall and inviting the wider community in to stitch with these pieces. So the United Church in Little Current is hopefully going to be the receiving place for the panels when they're finished touring these art galleries. And so thank you, Faye Stevens, and thank you, United Church, and thank you to the Manitoulin Expositor, who every week would put a little ad in the paper reminding people to come out and stitch on the Manitoulin Community Circle project. Every week for 4 years, a little ad in coming events to go out and do it. And people, I think, came to count on those little ads to make sure it was still going on or what hours they were. Sometimes they would change. And so that's Rick McCutcheon is here with his blue box that has something going on. And his wife, Julia, who was one of my very first and faithful stitchers through the whole thing. There's Julia right there. Thank you, Julia. And I'd like to thank the Art Gallery of Sudbury for mounting this exhibition so beautifully. And they closed it for 2 weeks and repainted all the walls and cleaned all the floors and really devoted a lot of time to making this exhibition be serene. So thank you very much to all the staff who worked so hard. Ever since we moved to Manitoulin over 20 years ago, I've wanted to have an exhibit in this beautiful gallery. I've always thought of it as being my gallery. I'm a regional artist, and I thought one of those days I'm going to have a show there. So this is kind of like a dream come true to be here. I wanted to talk a little bit about time as the connecting link in this exhibit. Both floors hold 4 years of time. These panels are the Manitoulin Circle project. They took 4 years to stitch as a group. And upstairs, there's a document in stitch of my daily life, day at a time, through time, for 3 years, along one wall, and the other wall is another year. Time is so important as a concept. And I started with time. I think it's been a theme throughout. When I have these beautiful babies who all of a sudden would grow into a toddler and grow into a 10-year-old. And I just thought they were growing up so fast, I needed to paint them. I painted my kids as the first part of my career, and I've been working with this passage of time ever since. Time is like how do you make it visible? How do you remember it? How do you hold on to it? These pieces do. These pieces down here are the Manitoulin Circle project. They are made from old fabrics from past times. Most of the fabrics in them are linen damask tablecloths that people used to use in Sunday dinners, or woolen blankets that people used to cover themselves up, but we don't use them so much anymore. So these are from past time, ritualistic objects, almost of domesticity, and they were brought together, they were donated to be repurposed for these cloths. And then, I just don't want to forget anything. I'll start with this piece here. This one is the first one we started with. Should I tell you about the Circle Project?
Yes.
Well, I was taking a course, I'll tell you, I was taking a course in liturgical embroidery. And I wanted to work in a public place. I wanted to make artwork that could hang where people gathered. And I needed to meet with someone who would allow for that. And so Faye Stevens and I, mostly, she supported the idea. Thank you. Thank you. To start working, I wanted to make this public artwork with a community of people. I thought if everybody came together one day a week to hand stitch, then we would have work that was made for the community by the community. Excuse me. Anyway, they did. They came every Thursday. And the first week, I made designs. You'll see the designs upstairs. And the first one we worked with, because it seemed the easiest, was this panel here. I knew what I wanted to do on this part here. This is new silk. These are women's handkerchiefs. These are damask tablecloths. But here, everybody who came out in October 2009 was stitching French knots or stitching beads onto these squares of green fabric. And then we would assemble them to be the lower half of the circle. And as it came out, it looked like more than the lower half of the circle. It started to look like an island of planted fields. It started to look like Manitoulin Island. It started to look like a boat. Can you see how it looks like a boat? And it started to be an earth ark, as in Noah's Ark. And I would like to talk about that idea of the ark as being a way of saving, of protecting, of holding for the future things, animals, plants. All of these pieces have an ecological background. The title of this one is called Earth Ark. You see the rainbow here. The title of that one is Precious Water. The title of the one behind here, Layers of Time. And over on the back wall, Mended World. I wanted to show you the, just quickly, we signed in every Thursday, and this is how I know that there are 144 people came out to work on these panels, is because they all had to sign a list when they came out. There's 89 names here, and as we went along, they would sign in each day. So here for December 3rd, there's December 3rd and December 10th. You'll see that many of the names are the same names. There were about 30 people who were regulars, and the other 100 and so would come in and out. And then I worked on it almost every day, besides the Thursdays. And I'd like to read to you a journal entry from Monday, October 25th, 2010. The project started October 2009, so this is October 2010. Monday. This Thursday will be our 1-year celebration. I look back on the year in amazement. It's awesome that this project is still going as strong as ever. There have been many times that I have worked in the church by myself on these quilts. Today is one of those days. But the project is making me feel part of this community, like someone in the Elephant King Babar's city, where everyone had their special job. Some were doctors, some were teachers, some were garage attendants, one or two were artists. I'm all part of a large circle. And then we filled up that book with signatures, so we had to start another one. And I would like to call up the people who worked on these quilts with me, and I'm just going to read a little bit from this, and then we're done. But I see Julia. Please come up here, Julia, and Anki, and Stella, and Linda, and Anita, and Karen. These are just a few of the people who came. These are some of the regulars. And I'm just going to finish off by reading a little tiny speech that I read to the ladies when they come to celebrate our 3rd year. It was on September the 13th, Thursday, September the 13th, 2012. We didn't finish the project until 2013. We had another year. Okay. The most important thing today is that we are all here together. Our hands join us. Some of us are here every week. That is discipline. That is commitment. This project to come together to create meditation panels that will remain in the Manitoulin community gives back to each of us who came as much as it receives. It gives us camaraderie and friendship. It nourishes us as we see something we touch grow from just an idea into something tangible and permanent. We continue. We continue. We continue. 3 years so far with our tactile labor, with our caring touch, with our intimate, repetitive mark making. We calm right down. It heals our stitching. So thank you very much. Any questions, and so probably with these ladies, if you have any questions. And I was going to talk more about the pieces upstairs, but later on, if you want to catch me upstairs, I'll answer some questions about that. For right now, if you have a question, ask it, and otherwise we'll just continue with our celebration. Yes, Stella?
Of course, I think this is up, Stella. I think it is we who have to thank you. Yes. Well,
okay. No questions? Yes.
I'm just wondering, were there any teachers that you went to learn the different stitches, or was it just basic, like general embroidery stitchery, or can you talk about those specific stitches?
The specific stitches, yeah. I'll just show you the one you're standing by here. These are traditional stitches, most of them. This one here is the reverse applique dot. And it probably is the most difficult of the stitches that we learned, all these dots. You see, we made dots, and we made dots, and we made dots, and we had to keep making dots. And I taught a tutorial about this online. And that more people have come to that particular post, like thousands, of this tutorial for reverse applique dot. So that's one of the techniques that was not original. It's just taught. These dots here, satin stitch, hand done, on fabric that was already machine embroidered with dots. So what we did was fill in all the gaps, like it was in a kind of a off grid, we put them all so it was a straight grid. So a combination of machine and community and hand, like the world, like we are. And here is couching, the same technique that's upstairs. Linen damask tablecloths, torn into strips and wrapped into further linen damask tablecloths. And this technique here is a fancy product to give the texture. It kind of looks as if you were looking at water from the moon, or from above. So that, and then there's stem stitch. So these are basic. There's nothing really complicated in any of these, and I was the only teacher. Any other questions? That one there, Mended World, we used the mending stitch, the back stitch, to make the center circle. And we had to keep mending the fabrics with 2 needles at the same time because they kept wanting to fall apart. The fabrics, the tablecloths were cut into strips, sewn back together, cut into strips again, sewn back together. All that ruining of the damask and then all that repairing is sort of a metaphor for our world, us. Just keeping on fixing it.
Can I ask something? When you got to a point that you said you saw the lakes and you saw the pastures, was that you seeing them or was the group discussing
No, the
what you
group
saw?
did discuss it, yeah.
So you didn't have kind of a control. Did you move them in a direction? How much did you give?
I would say I was the boss.
Okay.
But certainly, we worked as a group, we talked, we had discussions, right?
But you didn't design, did you design ahead of time?
You'll see the sketches upstairs, and they're different from what actually has evolved. It's quite different to work with fabric but I don't think I would have had the ideas without making a few sketches.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. All right then. Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Well, I don't know about everybody here, but I just learned a great deal about Judy and her work and the sense of community and family that is truly evident in all of the 4 years that you brought everyone together. I do have to say, as you mentioned, we're still just having a chat here. If I can just have everyone's attention still to the front, please. As Judy was talking about, not terribly difficult or hard, her group of friends over here weren't very agreeable to that message, in fact.
They weren't?
No, it was like, higher, there.
Would you like to answer that question? Are we agreeable? No, about whether the techniques were difficult.
No, just that wasn't too much fun.
As you were talking about this one, there was a lot of rumbling. Yeah.
She was a good teacher. She was
Good.
a good teacher.
Well, I don't know about everyone else, but this hearing Judy talks has really brought this exhibit and the works actually to life for me. And before I let you go, you have a question?
The lace on here, or is that repurposed lace?
No, that was all donated. And this was the last panel we made. And when people were seeing the kind of work we were doing in the church hall, they said, I have got a lot of tablecloths and doilies. Would you like them? And they would donate them to the project. And, well, I didn't make. All that white lace was handmade by the ladies. The white circle was hand stitched, but the ecru colored doilies were handed in as a donation by many other women. And so I have to use it.
So it's very historic.
Oh, very much.
The island. It's an amazing legacy.
I agree.
I think you're more like.
Well, I just want to let you know that this exhibit is on until the beginning of March. We do have a book in here of Judy's. It's at the front that you can purchase. In addition to this exhibition, what we started a little while ago was with each opening, We would also feature an artist, a local artist, in coordination with a new exhibit. And the local artist that we're featuring during this exhibit is a textile artist as well, and her name is Tara Grood. And you can see her work all in that front section around the desk. So please do check that out as well. Please let all your friends know to come and see this exhibit. It is truly, it's very beautiful. It's very serene being in this room among these quilts. And thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Judy, for bringing your work. It's been a pleasure having you here for the last couple of weeks. And thank you to all of you for coming. So make sure to eat all the food before you leave. It's like Sunday dinner. You can't leave until the food is gone. All right? Enjoy, everybody. Thank you very much for coming.
I didn't have to sit down.
Yes. Just the sense of community and family that came out with you talking was just truly amazing. Yeah. Very, very nice. Hi, Rick. Nice to meet you.
I wanted to ask you a question about the finished work up. How far back?